Hello, everybody out there in podcast land. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by our favorite tax guy, David Roque. It's that time of the year. It's tax season. Tax season is incredibly daunting. It's intimidating. It's a time of the year that you really need somebody on your side that understands how to get you the most out of, everything that you've worked for all year. So having somebody that you are not intimidated to go and speak with and ask questions, somebody that's going to do whatever they can to make sure that you can maximize your returns is crucial during these times. David is an accountant and paintball player from South Florida with over 6 years of personal and corporate tax experience. And he has clients throughout the United States. So it doesn't matter what state you're in, he knows the legislation and he's willing to do whatever he can to make sure that you feel comfortable in getting, the most out of your return and are confident that his filings are, done with due diligence. And I can personally say so far, David has been excellent. We are so incredibly happy to be working with him with Play the Game podcast. He is doing all of the PTG filings and tax returns, and so far he's been absolutely amazing. We have a pretty complex situation with Tyler being in Arizona and myself being in California, so he has been amazing at answering all questions and making sure that we are comfortable in filing this return. He's really good at maximizing your return and making sure that you keep all the money that you can out of the money that you earned. So why not go with him? If you have a small business or have thought about starting one, David is also there to help you out with understanding corporate taxes. He can help establish your business, start up payroll, or help with bookkeeping. This is all really important stuff, and this is stuff that we're learning, Tyler and myself, along the way. We need better techniques, and we're going to be using him going forward, absolutely. Let him know that you're a fellow paintball player and that you're recommended by us at Play the Game, and he will make sure to help you out for under $200 for a federal and state return. I mean, that's crazy. That's great prices. If you guys have gone to H&R Block or any of these other places, they charge a hefty fee. It's pretty expensive to do your taxes. So we have somebody in the paintball community that is offering a great service at a premium price. And we hope that you guys definitely check him out. You can find him at his email, droque954@gmail.com. That is DROQUE954@gmail.com. He's fantastic. Check him out 100%. It is Roque Accounting. That is his company. That is his business. This is what he does, and he's here to help you. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Lone Wolf Paintball. Lone Wolf Paintball is an online supplier that has been around for a very long time. They've actually been Michigan's premier paintball field and supplier since 1987. Now expanding into the online retail store, they are really trying to do their best to supply everything you need to the paintball community. They have it all. You can head over to lonewolfpaintball.com. If you want Field 1, HK, GI, Dye, it doesn't matter. They got it. You can surf the website. You can check it out. They have what you need, guaranteed. And they also boast excellent customer service and same-day shipping. That's pretty badass. You could go to the website, order something, and it's going to be sent out that day. That's fantastic. That's amazing customer service. So again, guys, if you would like, you could head over to lonewolfpaintball.com. You could also check them out on YouTube and Instagram. Their Instagram is lonewolfpb, and their YouTube is Lone Wolf Paintball. And you can see and keep up to date with all their latest deals, their sales, their content. It's a lot of really fun stuff. Play the Game podcast is excited to have them on board, and you guys should head over and become part of the community. All right. This episode is brought to you by Transfuse. Transfuse is the only all-natural electrolyte drink that you guys need to have in your cabinets. We love this stuff. We've been using this for an entire season now. This stuff is amazing. I feel great when I drink Transfuse. I drink it every single day. I don't go a day without putting a packet of Transfuse in my water. It's very easy, very portable, easy to travel with, and delicious to drink, which means that you're going to love drinking it and you're going to drink more of it, which is going to be incredibly beneficial to your health. Has magnesium, potassium, sodium, which are all amazing for proper hydration. It has zinc, vitamin C, vitamin B, and choline. These things are incredible cognitive enhancers and immune boosting formulas that you don't want to miss out on, especially in times like this. I'm telling you, I drink Transfuse every single day. I love it. Tyler does as well. Anybody who has tried it has been just pouring with great feedback back to us. There's a reason that they're at all the NXL events, and a lot of the top teams and top professionals are using this product. Do not walk around dehydrated. I never realized how dehydrated I was, even when I was drinking all sorts of water. It's not enough. You need the proper nutrition. You need the right ingredients. Transfuse has done a great job of curating the perfect formula. Transfuse is absolutely spectacular. And for all of our listeners, there is a special deal for any Play the Game listener. If you head over to translabs.com, that's TRANZLABS.com, and use code PLAYTHEGAME at checkout, you will get 10% off. If you subscribe, which means they auto ship you your package every single month, whatever you want, whatever type, whatever flavor, whatever electrolyte formula you desire, they will give you an additional 11% off. So it becomes a 21% discount exclusively for all Play the Game listeners. Huge shout out, and we are incredibly thankful for our supporters. And if you guys would like to go support them, it's translabs.com. Use code Play the Game. We are brought to you by Heal Brand. Heal Brand is the best CBD company that we have ever come across. I've been taking CBD products for years now, and I absolutely love it. But Heal Brand has taken my CBD consumption level to the next tier. This stuff is really the luxurious, high-quality, best brand that you're going to come across. Their whole claim to fame is the nanotechnology. It's the real deal. The claim is that through their nanotechnology, the CBD can actually break through the cellular wall and get into the bloodstream much faster and more efficiently. So you need less to do more. Often CBD products, you'll need to take it for a couple weeks before you really start noticing all of the benefits. With this stuff, as soon as you take it, you notice it right away. Within 15, 20 minutes, you're feeling the benefits of CBD. CBD is great for inflammation, anxiety, sleeping, all sorts of different stuff. CBD is really exploding on the scene because it has such a wide variety of benefits. I personally love to use CBD before I go to bed so I can get a full, well-rested night of sleep. Sleep is so crucial. It's so important. If you want to recover well, if you want to fight off depression and anxiety and those unwanted emotions, proper sleep is where you need to start. CBD products really help me do that, and Heal Brand CBD has a wide variety of options of different products, different formulas. It is all natural. It's amazing. This stuff is fantastic. You guys can head over to healbrand.com, check them out, and there is an exclusive offer to all of our PTG listeners. If you use code PLAYTHEGAME at checkout, you'll get 10% off.
Well, the time has finally arrived. We have none other than Bob Long joining us on the show. One of the greatest coaches, minds, innovators, and just all-around badass icon of paintball. And we're super excited to share these stories and have them databased in the framework of paintball for all time through the podcast. And we're excited to share this with the Play the Game family. So thank you all for joining in. Let's get into this.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication. And the crowd starts chanting Harmon. Great shot by all the guys. So Tyler Harmon saved that game. He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
Oh my God. We got him. The one and only Bob Long, one of the greatest coaches of all time and an absolute icon of the paintball industry. My father, pretty much from when I grew up in this game. And I'm just so appreciative to have you here and just to be able to pick your brain about paintball. It's a complete honor. So how you doing, Bobby?
Pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Hanging in there.
Really? Yeah, awesome, man. Bob, this is a tremendous honor. Like Tyler said, you are just a legend of the game, always have been. Like when people talk about paintball, you're one of the names that every single person who's ever heard about paintball absolutely knows. So getting some time with you is epic. Thank you. I know pre-show it was a little bit of a mission to get this all working and going. So thank you for the patience. All the listeners have actually been asking, they've been along for the ride of when we're going to finally be able to get Bob Long on the show. So
yeah,
that's good. I like this kind of stuff.
They're awesome. Riveted. And Bobby, just so you know, we have everyone from all walks of life tuning in, which is cool. We just created the show this year, but we have all the old school ballers, the new school, and everything in between who's able to hear the Bob Long story, which, like I said, we are just so grateful to have you here with us, man. How's Phyllis? How's the family? How's everybody doing?
Everybody's doing great. Zach ended up getting COVID this year, but he's doing fine now. So
okay, good. Yeah, it's just been madness with that whole thing, and obviously safety is number one. We all got to make sure that.
Well, I got both my shots, and Phyllis has got both her shots, so we're done.
There you go. Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah, and that is, thankfully we're moving into the finish line of this madness that we've been going through, but I'm so glad to hear that you guys have been being safe and everybody's well. I miss Phyllis a ton, so tell her hi when you talk to her. I love her so much.
You guys sure did good at World Cup. I got to watch all the games, so that was good.
Oh, you watched them all?
Oh yeah.
Oh
Wow.
man, that's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
When
Bobby,
you started winning, I just kept watching them.
there we go. Man, that melts my heart. That's like my dad too. He's always watching the shows, and it means the world to us to know that, you know, the heritage is still alive and that we still have all of our brothers watching over us. Amazing.
Well, as they say a long time ago, I remember saying this: your heart never dies, but your body does.
Mm. Yeah,
absolutely.
You always
have
have the love for the sport.
Yeah,
makes sense.
Nobody has loved quite like you, man. And you know, I personally am so intrigued of like you as a youngster and like your early years and how you got into, you know, bow hunting and paintball and all that. So can you kind of walk us and the listeners through like you as a kid and where you grew up and everything?
You know, when I graduated, you know, I played sports all the way into college, and then I was always a very how would you say, sports involved person. You know, I lettered really early my freshman year, and 3 sports a year. But then I got into archery, and I got real heavy into archery, and I was
What
doing
year was that?
Oh man, back in the 80s, early 80s.
Okay.
You know, I graduated in 71. So I physically got into archery so big that I was considered what's called a professional hunter. I would go out and go hunting, and I'd put everything in a physical, you know, tape, record it. That happened during that day. And then when it got home, I gave it to a ghostwriter, and they'd publish it in magazines. And I was published in Outdoor Life, Field and Stream, Sports Afield, all those magazines years ago.
For everyone who doesn't know, Bob Long is one of the best bow hunters in the world.
So
that was something I didn't know, which is, don't you have world championships in bow hunting too?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm way up there.
Yeah, you're the guy from what I hear. That's insane.
So anyway, I really pushed real hard, and then I owned an archery shop, and a guy named Rick Sendeas came over to my shop, and he bought a bow and was shooting in the lanes, and he asked me, "Would you like to go play paintball?" And I said, "Yeah, what's that?" And he goes, "We got these little pistols that shoot a ball and tag a person." I said, "Let's go." So I remember coming home.
Let's go.
I remember coming home, and no exaggeration, I came to my wife. I was all skinned up. I had a broken rib. And I said, I just played the funnest game I ever played in my life. Because I'm a person that hunted, and I got to hunt a human being without killing them.
Yeah.
So that's what got me started. I mean, and people say it's a rush, you know. It's unbelievable the feeling that you felt the first time you got to play. It's just a different feeling. So, you know, I went out and played. And we went and played a couple tournaments. And before I got really involved, I went to a practice with the early Ironmen. That's when Rick Baird was the captain. And me and Rick went up there and played. And both of us did really well compared to those guys because we were hunters. And they asked us to play on the team. And I said, sure, no problem. So we played for a couple, 3-4 months at Venture Games up in the woods. And then we went to New York, never played in a tournament. We slept in sleeping bags with tents, didn't stay in a motel. And it was horrible.
What year is this, Bobby? When was
early
this?
80s. Early 80s.
Nice.
And how did you break your rib when you were out there?
Diving over rocks.
Oh man.
Just, it was in the woods. When I played, I came to the point that if I got shot, I really was shot. So I'm not going to get shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't just I was going to get tagged.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing that I was really my life and death situation.
Yeah.
And I believe that's what helped me through the years when I was training and teaching and playing, is because we played instead of just, okay, we're going to get tagged off, we're out. No, we just lost. And I couldn't stand losing. It just drove me nuts. So we played a team called the PMI Piranhas at that time. They were the world champions, and we beat them. And they said, what the world is this Team Ironman? Where'd they come from? It was in New York. And we ended up third place in the tournament. So that was really good,
Wow.
And then,
that's
they asked me to become the captain. And Rick was a really good captain, but he was fair to everybody. Everybody's going to play. It's like a little league playing, And I looked at it different. I wanted to win. And if I wanted to win, the best player is going to play. It's and I did my part of letting other people play when I sat to put everybody in, but I didn't take my heavy hitters out. They always played.
Yeah.
I remember one tournament, little John came up to me and says, Bob, I'm not playing good. I go, get your shit together. You're not coming out.
I love that. Yep, 100%.
You have the capability of playing super good. Don't feel that you're not playing good enough to play. You can do it. And I remember saying stuff like that to you.
Yeah, I know. I'll never forget it, man.
You've got to strive for greatness. And it's very hard to keep striving for greatness, because what happens when you get to the top of the pinnacle of the hill, the only place you got to go is down. You're not going to stay there your whole life. Yeah. And I came to that conclusion. I watched the young, I watched the older guys getting older, and all the guys want to play all the time.
Yeah.
It just wears them out. And so it did me. When I started hurting the team, I quit.
Yeah, but your legacy is world renowned, and it will last far past all of our lifetimes in this industry, just because of what you did in so many levels as a coach, as a manufacturer, as an icon, and just a spirit. You brought a certain spirit and a certain zest and fire to life within your organizations that is hard to duplicate.
Yeah, I know. In a minute, I'm going to have to walk in there and get a cord, because this thing just said low battery.
Go get it,
Bob,
baby.
I realized that I forgot to ask you to get the charger. So perfect. That's perfect timing.
Just said low battery.
Okay.
Go get that, baby. Yeah, we make sure we don't lose Bobby here.
Yeah,
what a treat it is, man, to be able to talk with him.
I'm in heaven right now, man. Bob is.
Me too. I'm in euphoria. It's not even real.
Yeah,
this whole day, I was like, "Are you kidding? I get to sit down with Bobby and chat for a little while here." And
this is a treat.
I can't wait to talk about how he cut his teeth here, and about the Ironman and how the Ironman and Bob Long's Ironman all came about, and that whole thing. That's really
I don't think some of the new listeners quite realize how special this interview is right here. Not even, this conversation.
But
you're
talking 10, 15 years ago, this is the pinnacle, like he was talking about. He was pushing it, and one of the most innovative paintball players that the industry has ever seen, that made way for countless companies to come in and do their thing as well, off of his ingenuity and his, just knack for creating and being super innovative.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, look at field
Thankfully.
1 now, you know, what we're using is all because of this man right here.
I know. I'm still shooting Bob long guns.
Yeah. Oh, that's why he was watching World Cup. He had to make sure the guns were still working right.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm plugged in.
All right,
There we
baby.
go. Awesome.
Yeah, we don't want to lose him with no power there. All right. So
Let's see.
once we get Bobby, his video went away here.
There we go.
We're back.
All right, brother. So Bobby, I kind of wanted to touch base on just how you cut your teeth and got so good and went pro, and that journey for you and how that went.
Which one?
True. Yeah.
You know, the first Ironman, the very first team, you know, it started with Ironman and Strike Force. That was a team in Sacramento. And every time we have like a Northern California championship, we'd be fighting each other for first and second. So we didn't, as the Ironman, we didn't have enough players to compete 10 men. You know, we had probably about 6 good players and the rest were just players. So we went to Strike Force and I sat down with them and they said, would you be interested in being a tournament team? And they said, sure, what's it going to cost? And I said, well, let me see what I can do with sponsors. And that's where I went to National Paintball.
Yeah.
And asked them if they'd be interested in sponsoring. And there was no giant sponsors in those days. And I got Marty Bush, Clayton Kyle to come over to the team. And then I got Shane Pastana and Brian Beniti and Jamie Canavero, all from the southern part of the team. And we made a team. And you know, when you start winning, it's really easy for guys to come. They want to come. They want to be involved with a winning team. So I think we did more training than everybody else did in those days. Most of these paintball players in the woods, they'd go to the woods and they'd go, well, this is a great place to play. We'll go have fun. Well, we didn't do that. I mean, we went out there and looked at angles. And I remember one time in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Marty and those we were walking the field and I couldn't figure this field out. And how I used to figure fields out is I would go on my side of the field and walk it.
Yeah.
And I'd know my moves. Okay, I got these moves all figured out in my mind. Then I'd go to the other side and be a bad guy and figure what I would do to stop those moves that I just did.
Yeah.
As soon as I stopped it, I'd go back to my side and be the bad guy again and figure those moves out again toward that guy. And we do this back and forth till you couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's how I came with that philosophy. If I do this move, he's going to counter with this move, and I'm going to counter with this move. So pretty soon I got left at the field. The whole team left me, went back to the motel. I was still on the field trying to figure this out. So
well, that's why you were the best in the world.
In my head, I could figure it out. I was no good for nobody.
Yeah.
You know?
You put in the work. It's all about the details, you know. A lot of players to this day, even though we get field layouts and things like that, and games are
angles are going to change.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are so many situations like that when you go and walk fields. Like, okay, we want to do this, but if I was them, how am I going to stop it? And then if they're going to be stopping it, I need a way to counter. And you go as much as you can. That is such a powerful piece of advice for the listener.
Yeah, it just make and then you got it in your brains. You can't fail.
Yeah.
You're not going to fail if you do this right.
Yeah.
And so many people didn't put the time in those days. So, you know, we had an advantage. We did. We started winning. We won a couple, then we won 3. And then all of a sudden, wow, you know, you couldn't stop them. And And I seen teams we beat before we walked on the field. They were so psyched out that they would have to play us. And it wasn't that we were that good. They were just not prepared.
Hey, Bobby, I want you to explain that. Explain the intimidation factor and how that separates champions from the runner-ups. You know what I mean?
You know, there's different scenarios that you can see. You know, everybody remembers Opie, Dave Thomas, you know, and everybody remembers Dirk Cadbury. we were in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, sitting at a field, and Dirk was the first time coming on the team. First time. And Opie was playing, and they go, who's this Dirk guy? And they go, oh my God, you don't know Dirk? He just got out of prison for child molesting.
Oh no.
You know, and he's going, and it was all fake. And he went over and sat next to Opie, and Opie was a kid. And scared Opie half to death.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's back
so
then.
Intimidation is everything. You know, I was never the person, and I just, it's not in my genes to get really, really hard-nosed with people. You know, I yelled at you guys and everything, but you needed yelling, you know, but I didn't ever threaten and stuff like that. So,
no.
But we were so good and so precise that guys would go, what did we do wrong? So honestly, I think they were not prepared going to the field. They were more beat as they found their bracket and they had to play us.
Yeah.
Now,
I'll never forget, Bob, like our game plans prior to games, just like you're saying, going super deep into context of, you know, the layers of the game. I'll never forget, you know, you just diving into that so full head and making sure that we're thinking that way as well. And really what I learned from you the most is just how to outsmart your opponent and be very witty about your decisions, you know, and how you choose to navigate the field. Yeah.
You know, and it's not that you're, you know, everybody says this really is a game of chess.
Yeah.
You know, you want to make a move, they're going to make a move. You want to counter that move, they're going to make another counter move. And it's who's can make those moves when the king's left.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
kind of moving their attention, right? You want to like, I want you to look here, so I do this over here, and playing with them like that as well.
Oh yeah, you know, everybody uses the gun, you know, the sound of the gun, aiming it a different way. They use all that kind of stuff. You know, but that's things that happened. On the second Ironman team was just my power of when they asked me to resign, it crushed me. So they said, you can play with us, but you can't be the captain. Okay, I understand that. I'm not going to play with you. And I came home. I came home and asked the practice team, you guys want to play? Yeah. Well, you know, I had the sponsorship. Dave had the other sponsorship. So Dave took his course, you know, and I took my course, and we played, and we went, our first tournament was in Vegas. We went down there and we qualified for the pro division as an amateur. And I sat the guys down. I said, okay, here's your guys' decision. What do you want to do? Do you want to play amateur and win? Or do you want to play pro and place? I go, we got a lot of work if it's pro. And they said, we want to play pro. Okay. And we ended up taking third place. That year, we ended up placing in every tournament and never won one.
Wow.
And we won the championship.
Oh,
because we were consistent. You know, so
we
won the world title just by being consistent. Because the teams that were winning, when they'd win, they'd take an eighth.
Yeah.
You know, we were first, second, third, or four. I mean, first, second, third every time. So, but we were never first. So we were second and third. And it just increased points on us.
We did that in 7-man too, Bobby.
Yeah,
where
we
we
did.
went that whole season and we got like second, third or whatever. But we didn't win a tournament, but we won the series title.
Yeah, so there.
Yeah.
Hey,
I think
consistency is important. You know, that's something a lot of teams lack. It's hard to be consistent at the top of the game.
It's really hard. It's really easy for somebody to, well, it's not easy. It's never easy to win.
Yeah.
But it's really easier for people to not physically put the efforts in all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we see
It's
that
really
all the
hard.
time.
It's really hard. We still have lives. You still have things you have to do. You still got to, you still got to make a living.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all free gratis. Everybody thinks these pro paintball players are making millions of dollars.
I don't think people are thinking that anymore, Bob.
They're playing because they have fun.
The jig is up. Yep.
Yeah, and it is. It's the most fun thing. Like you said in the beginning of this conversation, it is the most fun thing you will ever do in your life. I mean, I love sports, extreme sports, traditional sports, all sports. I've played them all, and nothing captivates me personally. And I know I speak for a lot of people out there the way that paintball does,
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree 100%. I got to play a couple of years ago, and it was fun.
Oh yeah.
It was still fun. You still start thinking, okay. Let's make this. We can do this.
Yeah, that was at the 10-man tournament in
the woods.
NorCal. Yeah, what field was that?
It's right out of Sacramento, but they went belly up. They're gone now. So
bummer.
Yeah, I think it was called West something or another.
Yeah. And it's amazing that 10-man has made such a huge comeback. Rest in peace to Tim and so many others who have been really pushing paintball forward in the 10-man format, which is amazing because now we're getting all of the original paintball players back into the game, which is outstanding.
100% what you just said. Yeah. Here's the situation I seen. When it changed to 7-man, that was okay. That was okay. Everybody can play with 7. It was easier to get but when they changed to strictly X-ball floor mat bowling, then you took the fat guys like me out of the picture, and you got athletes in there. Okay. And guess who was paying for everything is the fat guys like me. I remember Marty Bush, one of the best players I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I paid for almost a whole year's worth of tournaments for him to go. And then when we won, he paid me back. So he paid me back every time.
Wow.
But I was counting on him winning. We would win and he would make enough money to pay me back because he couldn't afford to go. He was sleeping on a couch.
Yeah. And the grassroots of paintball that you came from, Bobby, you were saying that you were sleeping in tents and like sleeping bags, and it's really come a long way in the last, just the last 20 years that I've been a part of it, and you've seen it from the very beginning, which is crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's amazing. And so we have some of our listeners who have wanted to ask you questions. And I was hoping that I could kind of get into a couple of those with you. So in regards to the Ironman, that you answered that one, Chris Stone, who makes our YouTube thumbnails. He was wondering the story of when Bob left the Ironman to create the Bob Longs Ironman. And then everybody, BK Reese, Graydon, Christopher, they want to know what your favorite paintball gun is that you ever made. And also, if there's another paintball gun that you didn't make, but you really appreciated, what those 2 paintball guns were.
Well, in technology, let me tell you about building guns.
Yes, exactly. I want to dive down that rabbit hole for sure of how you got into that whole thing, because your guns are legendary.
They are, Bob.
First year, I bought 6 different guns.
Wow.
And I could outshoot them with my bow.
Oh, wow.
They were the most inaccurate. At 40 yards, your group was probably about the size, maybe a basketball.
Oh, wow.
So it's horrible to my specs.
Yeah.
I didn't know how accurate paintballs were supposed to be. So I started thinking of different guns and how I built a gun. We were using autocockers at the time. Well, you know, a stock autococker was not a great gun. It was an okay gun. It was a perfect platform. But we took the complete gun apart and ported and polished, because I came from the racing industry, and made everything perfect on it. The bearings, ball bearings, air passages, everything was perfect. So there was a magazine called PCRI, Paintball Games International. They used to do tests on guns, and they give the tests out. So I sent my tournament gun to them, and it came back 96%.
Oh, man.
So they said, "What have you done?" So I started building autocockers and doing it in my archery shop.
Yeah.
And I saved about $150,000 from building these guns. And I took that money and paid the engineer group to develop the Intimidator.
Wow.
That's where it came from. The people that built the Intimidator they made a human DNA machine. Why is this thing? Hold on a second. Battery.
There it is.
The battery just said, not working again.
All right.
So we're back to going.
Okay.
So,
thank God.
So we built that, and you know, I was a speed guy. I wanted the fastest gun that you could possibly build.
Yeah.
You know, still to this day, I think the Onslaught was the best because it was completely different than everything else. Some people said it was too rough on paint. Well, they made the rule for me to go back down to 11 balls a second.
I know.
Because I was going and going. I really honestly have a gun that we have videos of 31 balls a second.
I know. I remember.
That was shooting super rock hard paint, you know, with a halo loader and just screaming. But
that's where you got the speed from, is you came from the racing background. So that's also why you were so good at making these top-notch, just precision alignment paintball guns that were just running streamlined, because you have a racing background. I never even knew that. That's wow.
So out of all the guns, you know, mine was not really marketed the correct way, or I've been still in business. You know, I was good at building things, not good at selling things. You know, in the years that people haven't seen me, or it's been a few years. Yeah, I have built an electronic release. Did it again.
The video keeps going in and out.
Yeah, no worries, Bob. Take your time.
I wonder why it's not working on my computer. It should work. I'm plugged into the computer.
Is it a laptop or is it a desktop?
Desktop.
Desktop? Oh yeah, it should be rocking and rolling.
Well, we don't want to lose you, Bobby.
This way, I'll just plug it back into the electric. Here, I can do it this way. I know what I can do.
There we go.
Unplug this.
Bob and weaving. Yeah, man, that is so cool. I didn't realize the racing background too. Totally.
And you were saying the Onslaught was one of your favorites
because it shot so fast. It had a reverse valve in it that would, instead of going forward with the solenoid, it went backwards. And that's what I thought the advantage was. was not the forward motion of the bolt, it was the backward motion of the bolt. It was the faster you got that bolt backwards, the faster that ball would drop in.
Yeah. We were actually kicking around an idea, Bobby, of, you know, with all the developments of batteries and all these super light, high powered batteries that they have nowadays, that you could even implement a battery system, maybe not completely to power the gun, but to at least help with the process of the return.
Gino's got the patent on it, and he has it.
Oh, big news there. Okay.
Yeah. What?
You know, he worked on it for 5 years, but it's done. It works. It'll be
So
out this year.
it's already done. What I was thinking is already a done deal.
But
okay, I want to hear more about this.
Back to what I was saying, in the last 3 or 4 years, I built an electronic release for a bow. I built an electronic crossbow. These are things that I have built that have revolutionized the sport. With archery, most people shoot a release aid. That's what they shoot. They don't use their fingers. They use a release aid. Well, what humans do is they have a problem with releasing their fingers, pulling the trigger, whatever. It's because a human has a hard time using two different types of muscles at the same time. One is your back muscle, which pulls the bow. One is your finger muscle, which is a little muscle that pulls the trigger.
Yeah.
So I built a release that has delay in it. So you only pull the trigger and hold it down. So it goes off 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, or random. So it completely eliminates you having to pull the trigger.
Whoa.
Wow. You don't have to do the timing of it.
Yeah, what you do is, say for instance, you're a target shooter and you want to really zero in. You can aim really well, but it's really hard to pull the trigger. It's just like you shot a rifle before and you're aiming at it and trying to squeeze that trigger. This one, what you do is you pull the trigger and just aim, boom, and it shoots.
Whoa.
Wow,
and for any of our bow hunters out there, what would be the name of this so they could check this thing out? Or
I haven't even released it. I built it. Wow. Sat on them, and you know, it just, like I said, I can build stuff, but I can't sell them.
Yeah. Well, that's genius, man. That's huge. I'm sure there's a company out there that's hungry for something like that, because you have to be on the cutting edge of innovation in order to be relevant. And
the problems with companies now, they want you to completely develop it, get all the flaws out of it, figure out, they want everything done. It's not like the old days where they, you know, you come up with an idea. But I built 250 of those releases, and I built 7 of those crossbows. So I proved the point on the crossbow. You know, people don't understand what happens with the crossbow. Now it's a lot better. But 5 years ago, if you were going to shoot a long shot with a crossbow, they had a 5-pound trigger. Whoa. So say, for instance, you were shooting 100 yards at a target, 20-inch target. And if you're right-handed, you would have to aim 3 inches to the left of the target, pulling the trigger, which torque the crossbow to one side. And then it would go off in the middle. So I developed a trigger that was only 6 ounces. And amazing. It just like and all this technology, believe it or not, came from paintball guns.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you innovated so much to where there's people that are in the industry right now because of you. You know what I mean? Like, you sparked ingenuity in them from your creations that made them create things.
You know, the funny thing is, people don't even know this, but Unique Harnesses was years ago. That's who had the harness. Her name was Rose, really nice lady. And we used to wear harnesses on our chest with the little tubes, man tubes. So me and Marty, we wear these jackets when we played, and we called them bounce jackets. So if you got hit anywhere in the chest, they'd never break. You know?
we need some of these
bounce jackets. You know, here we go. They're gone now. Yeah. So I owned a backpack company that made backpacks for hunting. And I said, man, where do I get shot? Never get shot. I never get shot in the ass. So I took my harness and ripped it all to pieces and sewed it on a weight belt. And I showed Rose and I said, this is the new type of harness. And she goes, that's so cool. Can I make them? That's where the harness came from.
What?
You invented the harness, Bob?
The harness. That's where
I didn't know
from,
that.
right
That's
there.
crazy. That's like such a fundamental staple.
And that's what I thought of it. I go, where do I never get shot? I never get shot in the ass. So I put all my pods on my ass.
Wow.
That's genius.
Hey.
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness. Because before, like, it was
years.
it started out like the 10-round tubes. You put them in.
Yeah, we had all the 10-round tubes. And
Yeah.
then Smart Parts came out, because I still call them guppies.
Yeah.
That's the pods.
Yeah.
You know, and then we put them on our sides, on our back of our harness right here. And then those bounce jackets made a great big umbrella in front of you.
Yeah.
So, they bounced. And as soon as they outlawed that, you couldn't have them on your side no more because you'd always getting hit there. So that's why I sewed it on a weight belt and took it to Europe. And Rose goes, man, I'd like to make that. Make it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Dude, dropping gems.
Innovator. Yeah, always have been. Bob,
it's just like the feed neck on the vertical feed on the autococker. I went to Bud and I said, I want you to build me some bodies with a vertical feed. He goes, it won't work. Yes, it will. it won't work because I used an Armstrong sight. So I didn't care, if I had he goes, you won't be able to look down the barrel. I'm not looking down the barrel. I'm looking at the Armstrong sight. So he built me one. And that's all I'd order is those vertical feeds. And then he came out with the vertical feed.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Wow.
And now look at how many vertical feeds there is.
Well, it's all there is now, that's the standard.
Yeah.
You're crazy if you're doing anything else, because you got to play with both hands. And so, yeah, it's funny. Wow.
That's spectacular. Your brain just doesn't shut off. It is like when you look at something, you're breaking it down. You're trying to figure out how can we make this better. And that's special, man. Yeah,
that's what I do.
It goes back to
because your mind doesn't ever quit.
Mm-hmm.
That's the negative.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you ran such a good team. It's back to even game planning and walking the fields. You went through every detail, you were incredibly focused on all of the if this, then that. And that honestly has to be why everything you've made and built, innovated is so good. Because you probably sit there and think about the million problems that could potentially go wrong and you fix
100%.
it.
You keep on fixing it.
Yeah.
Pretty soon you're gonna end up. You just can't be depressed. You're gonna just like us hooking the stupid phone up.
Yeah,
we don't give up. Just keep trying.
You know what? Pepe said that when you brought Pepe onto the team, shout out to my Arizona family out here. He said that you told him when he came on that you would make him one of the best paintball players in the world. And it's just amazing what you can bring out of people too. And it's, I can say that I wouldn't be sitting here with this Oakland Assassins logo behind me talking to you guys right now if it wasn't for you, Bob, and the opportunity that you gave me as well.
Remember the first pro game at Mardi Gras who shot the face?
Oh my God. Yeah, I trudged up there. There was 2 feet of water. I was only 4 foot tall. The water was up to my pack, And I shot one of the best players in the world, Danny Love, out of that can, and I'll never forget that moment. Yeah, I was like I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe I made it to the X. I couldn't believe I shot Danny, and I just couldn't believe the whole situation.
We were proud of you.
Oh man,
that's awesome, Bob. What I mean, other than just the obvious that Tyler was going to grow up to be one of the best ever, what did you see in him at such a young age? Because he was
a very polite person. He was never mean. He never downgraded people when they made a mistake. He tried to help. He wasn't selfish. It was everything that you want in a son.
Wow. That's amazing.
Jeez.
Yeah. He's still that guy.
Wow. Man, you just, oh man, center punched me on that one.
It's the truth. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love you, man. And
I remember there's a video that I never yelled at you. I'll sit you for life.
I'll sit you for life.
Oh man, I know.
I can remember Zach. He was a little teeny kid. He was like 7 years old, and he got the four-wheeler stuck on a tree stump. He came in. He's a little kid. And I go, "You're grounded for life."
Oh my God! How did Zach?
Did he ever get the four-wheeler stuck on another tree stump?
No.
Yeah.
Problem solved. Exactly. There you go.
How did Zach get into the game? Like, how did that progress?
He got to go to the old Ironman with us in practices and stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember him being about 10 years old, and he's holding a gun, and the whole team's there practicing, and he's right in front of me, and he's holding the gun, and the gun goes off and shoots him right in the chest and about a foot away. And you could just see the tears rolling into his eyes. I go, "Don't you cry."
Oh,
and
man.
he didn't cry, and he just took it. And I mean, it was one of those holes.
Oh yeah.
And then I remember when he got bad, he was a grown man, not a grown man, but 18, 19 years old and playing professional. And he was horrible. He just had a smart ass redheaded mouth. And he smarted off to me in practice, and he turned around and walked away, and I just roped him in the ass like 6 or 7 shots. And he turned around and he goes, I go, "That's a spanking."
Yeah.
I love that.
Zach Long. No, everybody knows this. If you've played against Zach, he will put you into the dirt. He's one of the most rowdy paintball players, in your face paintball players that I've ever seen. And thank God he was on my team, because if he wasn't on my team, I would have been just put into the dirt, because he has no mercy,
No, remember how many times him and Ron got into it?
All the time, every weekend they were. Yeah. And Bobby, I'll never forget, man. Obviously I got on the team when I was 13 years old. I played my first tournament in Mardi Gras when I was 14, and you raised me into adulthood through the Assassins camp and through Blast. And I'll never forget, you had the room of death. We would have teams come over and they would sleep in there, and the whole Assassins camp was just such a timeless place at your house. And I was able to, I lived in Modesto, but I would travel an hour and a half to come crash at your pad and practice all weekend and build guns. And it was just such a timeless place. I want to just get your thoughts on that whole time period and what that all meant to you.
Well, I liked it because we could really concentrate on our game. We weren't going to a field where other guys are trying to get air and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We could eat pizza and have a few beers after practice. Everybody got a shower. And they slept down in the house, or they slept in the trophy room. The guests that would be playing this, we'd always put them down in the trophy room down there. And they'd wake up with nightmares. It was great.
Oh yeah, because they were surrounded, by all of the bow hunting trophies.
So
I've heard rumors.
But
About that place.
It was a good time. It was, understand that was part of our life. I mean, you wouldn't practice once a month. You'd practice every weekend.
Yeah.
And if you had one weekend off a month, you were lucky. We were lucky enough to be able to afford the paint or have the paint sponsored to us.
Yeah.
Because that was the only thing. I bought all the other stuff, the fields and stuff like that. But, it took dedication, and everybody was dedicated.
It was so crazy. Like the team that we had, we had Josh Davey and Riley Sullivan and Quincy, Arnold, LJ, Chris Wilson, the Canadians, Danny, and Josh, of course. And it was just like an amazing time in paintball history with the Assassins. And being able to build my own gun and like work on the Intimidator and like know how all the little details are made me a better paintball player. Because when things happened, and to this day, you know, I have a good idea of how my force runs and things that I need to do on that. It's just all the little details. When things go wrong, you need to know how to fix them, you know. And
Yeah, you can't, you know, I remember Little John saying, I'm a race car driver, not a mechanic. I said, that's wrong, because you're going to be better if you know how to fix it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to know because no matter what, something's going to happen when you're out there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And what are you going to do? Just stand there and say, oh, well, I guess I don't know what to do here.
Nope. You got to get to work.
Yeah, that's something we talk about quite a bit, is knowing and understanding your equipment, because it's so important. You know, it could be a tie game and your team's up bodies and there's a minute or two on the clock and you can be in position to win the game, but your gun goes down and you don't know how to fix it, you know?
And there's so many things. I can remember a game in X-ball when coaching was allowed and they had a coaching box, and it was Quincy and Mark Nelson was on the field with one of a lockout players in the center pyramid at the back. And I'm yelling, hold him. And that was and we were winning by a lot, you know, and I wanted to run the clock down. Mm-hmm. And both of them sat there and shot. And the guy right behind me was John Amadeus. And he says, what are you doing? I said, I'm using the clock. And he goes, you're not using the clock. They're just missing. I said, no, they're not. They're using the clock. And we're arguing back and forth from the net, right?
Yeah.
And it goes on. We argue for probably a minute. And he goes, I don't believe that. I said, Mark. And he turned his head and he goes, what? I go, kill him. Boom. Next shot, he was dead. John goes, oh my gosh.
I miss Mark Nelson.
Drop the hammer.
Oh,
Drop
man.
the hammer.
Yeah.
Get rid of him.
That's funny.
Mark, I miss Mark. Have you heard from Mark Nelson?
Oh, I see him once in a while on Facebook. Remember that time Riley shot him in the mouth?
What? Oh my God.
Yeah, at point blank range, right in the mouth. Oh my gosh, big old giant lunk on his mouth.
Like without a mask?
Without a mask, nothing.
Oh just my goodness, Riley's savage.
A foot away, the gun went off, hit him right in the mouth.
Oh. It was not on purpose. The gun.
Okay.
The gun went off, and I'll never forget how big.
Those guns had a mind of their own. They did some shooting.
Oh man!
I'm going, oh man.
Yeah.
His lip was like a balloon. It was crazy.
Bob, you guys also made some entry level guns. I forget, was it called the Millennium? Did you?
Yeah, I made the Millennium. The reason I made the Millennium is I wanted to put a vertical feed on a Spider.
Yeah.
So you know, I told Gino, you know, how many Spiders do you sell a year? And he told me it was like 50,000. And I go, I'm going to make a body for it. So I made a big run of bodies, and it didn't go over as good as I wanted. I lost money on that one.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, you probably don't. I'm sure you talked to so many people back in the day, but my dad, Tony Margot, was a huge fan of yours, and he would often have lengthy conversations with you about those guns. I remember when they first came out, you had sent a Millennium down for my dad and my older brother. Cool. And then they also got the Intimidators. They were just huge Bob Long fanatics growing up. You know,
that's great.
Such a cool time.
Who is it?
Yeah, seriously, you know. But I remember the Millennium guns. They were really badass. Again, at that time, I think I did have a Spider, and that was like just the way cooler version of one.
Yeah.
It was just topping it up.
Yeah.
So one of our listeners, USG Revamped, he wants to know what your thoughts are on the Force.
I think it's a very good gun. It's very quiet. They spent a long time to make it. So I'm going, oh my gosh, come on guys, you're going to be broke before you get this thing going.
Yeah.
You know, I like their theory. The theory is so little pressure, it shoots paint, very brittle paint. which is a great theory.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that's true. I like the point of no wire harness, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's great for teching because these guys take them apart. I've had guns come back to me and guys swear up and down they've never touched the gun.
Yeah.
And I take it apart and the wire harness is taped together with a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
I'm going, you gotta be kidding me. You're just straight out lying to me. But
you know what? My favorite part of the gun, Bob, the force, they stuck with your frame. So it's still like I feel like I'm still shooting a Bob Long gun because it has that original Bob Long frame. So for me, it's just super special because I've been shooting your gun for 20 years now. And I'm just so honored to be able to still carry on the Bob Long name.
I think it's the new technology that it's a good gun. It's a spool. It's a true spool. If they're only going to shoot 11, 12 balls a second, that's absolutely perfect. And everything has changed. You don't have to go to the woods and shoot 16 pods of paint and can't get back to the air station to get it filled. Those days are gone.
Yeah. I think that we're actually moving towards 4 pods. They might be doing where we only have 4 pods for the games.
See?
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Bob?
And that sounds, honestly, between me and you, that sounds like paint manufacturer.
Yeah.
Not wanting to sponsor the pro teams and give away all this paint.
They're giving all this paint away. Let's slow them down. That's how we can do it. Because that's exactly what they did to me. They'd swear up and down my gun was cheating. My gun was cheating. So a guy made a test fixture, and I forget his name, but it was at Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
And I
remember who you're talking about.
I'm trying to think of his name.
Yeah.
But anyway, I bought it from $2,500.
I remember.
So I took it to Chicago to the tournament, the machine. And they said, your guns are cheating. I said, okay. I set up the machine and robot. It was on a rotary and it would spin and would count the shots. And my gun was legal. So I said, find somebody else. And here we go with Opie again. Opie goes, try mine. And he goes, 20 balls, and it shot 23. Dad, you see what I mean? And they real quick. It was so funny. Bill Gardner and all those guys pulled over to the side. They went over and they were talking amongst each other, and they changed the rule right there. What are you guys doing? So
that was the robot. That was the infamous
robot. Yep.
That was going around to all the tournaments.
Yep. I bought it. I go because I know they're going to check me.
Yeah. So how'd you get around it, Bob? What kind of stuff did you guys have in your boards back then? When the robot came
there was
out?
always good stuff in those boards. Guys would call me up. I need some help.
It was a different time.
I remember, especially me, because I couldn't pull the trigger fast. When they did that video, I forget the name of it, but it was like a movie screen thing. And I came up shooting. My fingers were wiggling. And they all looked at me in the movie and said, Bob.
Dude, legendary times, man. And it was just.
But I like to go fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Bobby's, you're built for speed, baby. You're built for speed. You know what I mean?
And they took it away from me.
I know, man. It was just a different time, man. It's hard to explain if you weren't there in the, early 2000s, and a part of that nostalgic paintball period. It was just the best times of my life, hands down.
I still like woods. I think woods is really, I think it'll always have a room for going in the woods because it was, I remember playing Dynasty at Satcon Village. And you were on that team, Tyler.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The UWL.
Yeah, the UWL. And remember when we were playing? They came up to me and we're gonna beat your ass.
It was probably
I said, okay, probably. Probably, but who was that guy we ran with the flag behind him? It was
oh my God.
What was his name? Oh God.
I know.
You know who I'm talking about.
I do, but I can't remember his name.
Well, anyway, I went up to him and I said, what I want you to do is run by the flag, flip it, and then run behind him. I can't do that. Yeah, you can. You're fast.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I said, you can. Just run right straight down this path, flip the flag, and run right behind him.
Yeah.
And anyway, he did.
He was from South America, wasn't he?
I forget his name.
He was really fast. He was extremely fast.
He goes, I just can't do it. And he's panicking the whole time because he got to leave early. I can't do it. I said, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. And I was going, he's going to die. He's going to die. But he can do it. You can do it.
But he can do it.
He ran behind her, and Ollie come running out. That's who kept on going. We're going to beat your ass.
Yeah.
And Ollie came running out, and he shot all 4 of them in the back of the head. And the game was over in seconds.
Yes. He had the best game ever.
And the game was over, and they go, what'd you guys do? I said, you remember the old story about the old bull and the young bull?
Yeah.
And they just started laughing.
That was the best game of his life. He shot so many dynasty players off of that move that you gave him.
Yeah, he just ran behind them.
Yeah.
They come trotting in.
Yep. And he's just plop, 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 taking them out.
Pays to walk the field. I bet you saw that moves while you were out there before
Well,
the event
I
started.
Shane Howell to do the same move but a different position.
Yeah.
And he made it, put his gun up. He had his gun on safety.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, I won't shoot.
Oh, no.
Yeah. We had so many people on that team. Dave Baines was on the team. Greg Sewers.
Oh, wow.
We had Bear DeGidio was on the team.
Yeah. I know that picture of us taking the picture. It looked like I was dying.
Oh, yeah. That's a legendary picture, man. I'll never forget that tournament.
Did you guys win?
We did.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
We beat Dynasty.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh, this was
For
in the
the
finals.
finals.
That game in the finals?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So this dude he just balls
That's
to
when
the
you
wall.
pull it out.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
He saved it
Right?
till the
There's
end.
something to be said about that too. Yeah, you save those big plays. You know, some teams get really conservative. The deeper the event goes, sometimes it pays to just roll the dice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. You got to take chances. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, guess what? It didn't work.
Exactly. Exactly. Because
I thought that would work.
Yeah, not taking chances, you know, can not work as well. And then that's just a boring way to lose, you know. Then you always wonder, maybe we should have tried this, you know?
Well, it's just like the games that you said you're 1 point ahead and you've busted your ass to get there, that 1 point ahead.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you say, I'm just going to go defense.
No.
Exactly.
Don't change.
Right.
Keep your attack going because it's working for you. Don't lose your momentum.
Absolutely.
So true.
Hey, I just have a couple more questions and then I want to get into some personal ones. I know Marcelo has some questions for you as well. This one is from Delmont and he's wondering if there's anything that you would think to change about the game today. And do you think that we're headed in the right direction with pro paintball and paintball in general as a sport?
I think paintball in general as a sport needs to do something and I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
If I did, I would tell you.
Yeah.
I really don't know what to do. I think a lot of people need to get involved and maybe changing the format just a little bit to make it a new blood to start. Because I think the blood that we've got right now is pretty well saturated. The pros are going to be the same pros every year till they all die.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to change. It's very expensive to keep a pro team going, you know, and unless big money gets involved, and I don't think it will, It's going to, I think they should do a little bit more of the things that Tim was doing, a little bit of trade, getting a little bit more fun involved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And make that type of tournament again. I think that would help.
And what do you think holds the big money from getting involved in paintball? Is it just the fact that we shoot a paintball gun? Is that that's the whole thing?
Return. I'm a money man, makes $1 million a year. You love the sport, but you worked very hard for your $1 million. And you don't want to lose your $1 million just to make somebody else happy. You want money on your return.
Of course.
So you need some type of return for that person to invest to give the money again. The whole world is money operated. And, you can love the sport as much as you can, but if you run out of money, it ain't going to go anymore. It's just like, for instance, you guys, if you had no more sponsorship and you had no more, and everybody had to take money out of your pocket, you'd start seeing players quit because they can't afford it. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but that's real life.
Yeah. I mean, if paintball doesn't work out, I'm looking for termites, making sure that people's houses aren't getting eaten alive and fixing their houses up and doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Real life, like you said.
Because I got into the industry and made a paintball gun.
Yeah.
I was lucky. There's not that many people, and I was very blessed. There's not that many people that have done that or started a business and kept growing it and kept growing it and kept growing it. And they don't have that opportunity to do that.
Yeah. You have to be savvy. I mean, you really do. And that's a testament to you as well. You're one of the most savvy individuals there is, business wise. And it's a delicate balance, right? Because we're trying to, build this thing up and make paintball go to the moon. But there are a lot of factors that, play into the reality of the fact that paintball hasn't really progressed the way that anybody thought it would. I mean,
what had happened is in the early 90s, this is what I thought happened. And it's just my opinion. But the world, both parents had to work to make mortgages and everything like that. So at that point in time, they felt bad that they didn't get to spend all their time with their kids. And so they funded a lot of this playing of young adults to go out and have, come on, let's say 10 years ago, a case of paint was $100. So, you had a fast gun, you shoot 2 cases of paint a weekend. That's $200. For a kid, that's a lot of money. For me, it's a lot of money. So what happens is the parents would invest in their kids to make them happy. Well, when the Depression came, something has to give. So they took certain things away. And that's what happened to the paintball in the 2008. It just dropped like a rock because nobody was investing back into it. The kids weren't spending the money. You go to the World Cup now, and I talked to, years ago, would make $1 million plus in sales. Years ago. Now they're probably lucky to do 20,000.
Yeah. That recession, man, it definitely just worked over any luxury sports, and that's kind of what this is it's not cheap. It's kind of like snowboarding or dirt biking, where you got to buy a lot of equipment and then,
Right.
keep it
Yeah,
going.
but it's especially a luxury sport because even if you reach the pinnacle of the game, as a professional, you're not making a salary that is, comparable to other major sports like snowboarding.
Right.
At least you can sacrifice, and go through all that because at the end of the road, if you do make it, you can support your family. You can, build your own little business. It can be very lucrative. Yeah. To be honest though, guys, I don't, and I know people have been saying this for a long time, but it does feel like we're definitely closer than we've ever been in getting some outside attention or outside sponsors into the game. It's just becoming a more recognized sport. You see, Bob, I don't know if you've seen actually on Fox Nation, they did a pretty cool documentary on that 10-man team, Master Blasters. Did you get a chance to see that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. It was pretty cool. Again, this is, Fox Nation. That's massive, right? I feel like 5 years ago, you didn't see anything like that on any sort of, major news station. It was much more alternative. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah. I think it.
I hope it keeps going.
Yeah. Right.
It's never going to die.
No,
it's not
correct.
Completely die.
Yeah. People love playing too much.
Yeah, they still play. I have friends that own fields, and they're busier than they've ever been.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say is, as of this year, I went full head first into doing training paintball, traveling for paintball, and everything that I can do with paintball. Having this show, and paintball has been better than ever. For the last year and a half that I've been doing this, but it's definitely in the landscape of society far more now than ever with telecom and phones and the internet and everything, but it still has a long way to go. We still have a lot of work to do to just give it the notoriety. Like, people still don't understand that I exist, or that Marcelo exists, or that Bob Long exists, that has done so much for this amazing sport. But we have to legitimize this to where people respect it, because it's still kind of not respected as a real full-on sport in the landscape of the world.
Yes, I agree.
And it's difficult, man. It's one of the hardest things you'll ever do is playing paintball games.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Again,
I like to think that with time it's going to come. None of the other sports blew up overnight. Paintball is still relatively, new. I think, Bob, you said early 80s. 40 years. We're getting to the point now where it needs to see some traction. But you look at some of these other sports, especially here in America. They've been around a long time, 80 plus years.
Yeah.
So
it very well could be. I was just watching this old baseball movie. It was the best. It was talking about the early days of baseball, and these guys didn't make any money. They're just traveling everywhere, And when you love something, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And I don't do this to be a millionaire. I do it because it fills my cup up,
Right. 100%.
It's who I am. It's what I want to be doing. So it's the best decision I've ever made is to follow my heart. And I know we all feel the same way sitting here. So no matter what, we'll keep plugging away and shooting these paintballs and having fun. And by God, maybe someday it'll get some more notoriety, because I think it deserves it. But even if it doesn't, we know all the paintball players know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bob, what do you think the most important ingredient is to building a championship team?
Drive. The drive that all the players have to have, and the ability to fine tune whatever it is they're looking at. They got to be able to go to a field. They got to have gun skills. They have to have all these different skills. Then they got to fine tune the best that they can. When I had a guy that would run a 4.5 40, I wasn't putting him as a back player shooting paintballs.
Yeah.
Use whatever you got to their best of their ability.
I love that.
Absolutely.
That's so true, man. You gotta be good at reading people, right? It's all about knowing the individual and knowing how to best set that player up for success.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't let them think so much. Let somebody else think for them to get them into those positions. And if it doesn't work, move them on.
You know, Marcelo, you and Bob have a lot in common as like the overlords of the field. Like I see you guys both thinking and processing the same way of meticulous planning and just attention to detail and all the things that really matter. That is the reason why, we've all been fortunate enough here to have world championships, is because of those things and really caring about the details there. So I got another question here, and this one is from Chris Stone again. And major shout out to Chris Stone. He makes the best YouTube thumbnails for us. So he's wondering why you changed the name from Ironman to Blast, and if the name stands for anything. And then also how you felt about Losoya when he assassinated that poor guy.
Oh, that's a great question.
Blast means Bob Long's Adrenaline Sports Technology.
Oh,
awesome.
Wow.
There we go.
Sweet.
Yeah. I always thought it meant Bob Long's Assassins, but I like that. Adrenaline. There we go.
Very cool.
So what was the second question?
Oh, just how you felt about the situation when Losoya assassinated that guy in the paintball game. When they threw all the flags up.
Getting a little, you got to understand, he had that bad boy syndrome he was trying to protect.
Oh, he definitely is a bad boy. Chris is a legend, man. We had him on the show recently. It was so much fun. And then also, Chris was wondering your opinion on the warp feed and what your take on the warp feed was, because you used to shoot that a lot.
It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It really worked. I remember Alex Frazier, you guys came to my field and played.
Yeah.
And Alex goes, I was behind one of those stupid pyramids, the little popsicle snow cone shape.
Yeah.
The biggest guy on the field's behind that. And I had it all wrapped up, and he come flying up the field, and I shoot at him, and he goes, I cannot see him. And he'd make a move, and boom, 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 balls, it had it wrapped. You couldn't see me.
Yeah.
I mean,
no loader.
To me, it was phenomenal because it was stealth. I could use my sneakiness, and it was just a little bit bulky.
Yeah.
It was a little bit bulky.
But it was nice. You didn't have the loader sticking up over the top. I've always thought that someday there's going to be an innovation where we don't have a huge loader on top. It's going to feed some different way.
Loaders and tanks.
I agree.
Yeah. That's something
And
I
they
wanted
could do that. And you could honestly do that now at 11 balls a second.
Yeah. There we go.
Because you're not ranking the speed trying to get it in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How would we do that? What would we do?
Oh man, you'd have to take some engineering, but it could be happen. It really could. It wouldn't look like the little teeny guns no more. You'd have the loader underneath the front of the barrel. It would have a line feeding it. It could be done fairly easy.
Sure.
Interesting.
I am so curious about that. We've talked about, not having air tanks and trying to remove a loader, but so much of that is like part of the gun to me. And
it's going to completely change your style of play. When I played a whole year with the warp feed.
That's right.
And it wasn't really hard for me because I'm a back player.
Yeah.
I'm not diving and flipping and doing all this stuff. I'm back there shooting, and it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. It would be really. I never got to play with it in the woods. It would have been really deadly in the woods.
Oh yeah.
Because you get an old wooden bunker that has cracks in it. You stick it in the barrel, and nobody will ever shoot you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Woods
Yeah,
ball is so much fun.
Hurt. Mhm.
Yeah. Bobby used to run around and just mow down fields. Like if you were in brush, he would mow the brush down and find you with this heavy gunner that he had when he was running around out there.
UWL, that
He
was
was
so
the
much fun.
intimidator.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. I remember the first game they played with the UWL, and we were in Satcon Village again.
Yeah.
And there was no real rules. Tom had his own rules. And what it was is after you killed everybody, the bad guys were all in a box. And the other team had to go back to half the field.
That's right.
So I walked back and I had Kenny standing next to me and I go, I can shoot the bunker from here. And he goes, what do you mean? I go, when they come running out of the bunker, I can shoot them from right here. Perfect dark. The trees were good. Yeah. So they said, go. And out of 10 guys, I shot 8 of them out of the break when they were trying to run out of the bunker.
Oh, wow.
So
spawn kill.
When we broke for lunch, the rule got changed.
Yeah.
Tom goes, this is not going to work.
Bobby was, he had the spawn kills out there. He was getting them right when they were coming out. That's amazing.
That's epic. That's almost a perfect ace right there. We talk about it. We've talked about it on the show. The day that you can pull up off the break, shoot 5 paintballs and shoot 5 people. That's when you've perfected the game. Yeah. You're pretty close. You got 8 out of the 10.
Right.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I like it. That's funny.
Hey, Bob, I want to ask a question in regards to branding. Because when I was younger and, you had the Bob Long Intimidator, you would sponsor a lot of teams in our area, and had a tremendous hub center of players in California that were shooting Intimidators. And this is actually something that Steve, one of our listeners, was wondering too. But just looking back, would you have expanded to more teams, or did you like just keeping it close to home like that?
Like I said, I was no good at selling.
Mm-hmm.
I would go to a field and they'd always ask me, what are you shooting? This is what I'm shooting.
Yeah.
I was no good at talking to people and saying, you should shoot this.
Yeah.
Because that's their own decision. And it's just the way I am. And I'm no good at it. I tried to be a salesman on the phone. I'd call people, hey, this is Bob Long. And oh, really? Yeah, I've got some guns on sale right now. Oh, I'm pretty full. Okay, thank you. Bye, click.
Okay, thank you.
So
that's hilarious.
I just didn't know how to do it. I still don't. To this day, I do not know how to do it. I know, like this archery release that I built, I know it's the baddest ass thing there is on the market. And if I gave it to the right person and they win a world championship with it, it would fly off the market. Yeah. I just don't know how to do it.
Well, hey, PTG family, let's make some connections. Let's, I like it. Let's boost Bob Long in any way we can. And if you know anybody in the industry, holler at myself or Marcelo, and we'll try and make some connections for you, Bobby.
Okay.
Yeah, man. That's what we're here for. It's all family. That's the best part about paintball is, and we have a lot of listeners that have been tuning in, and thank you everybody out there for that. But it's just an amazing collective of people that we have together. And, it's all about boosting each other and helping the paintball players. That's what it's all about.
That's good.
Absolutely. Yep. Bob, I got to ask, because again, I just can imagine the stories. We always talk about it on the show, the experiences that you get and the friendships that you make along the way in this game are second to none, right? We have some amazing stories and experiences that have shaped who we are today.
Right.
I was wondering if you could maybe share, a special event or, some kind of travel, whatever it might be, that is, one of your fondest memories in the game.
Well, there's a couple of them. When we went to France and we won the 7-man 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. It was different. Yeah. It was really cool because you're out of the country, you're away from everybody, and you're playing at your best of your ability all the way through. Another one was out of this country too, when we won England and no team had ever won overseas before.
No way.
And we were the first team to ever win overseas. So that was kind of cool because,
wow,
you know, they wanted to try different things, and we played good over there. Here we go again. It was in the woods, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, you know, France was in the airball fields.
Mm.
And then winning the title as Bob Long's Ironman. That was kind of cool too. I would have liked to have won, but
yeah,
you know, when we won Huntington Beach years ago,
yeah,
you know, that was very, you know, good feeling and stuff like that too.
There's not many people have a Huntington Beach. You know, the tournament only happens so many times. So if you have a pro Huntington Beach win under your belt on that beach, it's special. And that I'll never forget that. That was crazy.
I remember the first game we went just a few points ahead.
Yeah.
You know, it went to a stalemate.
Mm-hmm.
So the next game, we had the next game, and we were, by the time we got to the last game, I remember telling you guys, we're points ahead. Don't lose it now. And I was up on one of those towers. They brought me way up on a tower with a forklift thing. And I got to watch it. I got to see the end. And those guys were just scrambling. Their right, impact was right on our ass. And you guys ended up shooting them all and won the game.
I know.
It was a good feeling. It was a good feeling.
That was timeless. And it was, you know, like we were playing against Josh Davey, who was
I know. He was
assassin.
right over Riley. I mean, he was right on top of Riley. He tried to bunker him and got shot sideways.
Yeah. Oh man, that's so awesome. Yeah.
And you know how I got to Josh Davies got to play with us. I met him in Canada when I was deer hunting up there.
Bullshit.
And he got a hold of me up there and he goes, I'm interested in playing with you guys. And we were in Prairie Cities, Canada.
Oh my
and
God.
He went and had breakfast with me and seemed like a nice guy. And he goes, can I try out? I said, you're more than welcome. Come on down.
Wow.
And that's how he got on the team.
I never knew that. And Josh Davey and Danny Miller are two of my favorite people.
I had no idea. I met Danny before, but I had no idea who Josh was.
So when Josh Davey showed up and he had Inuit like branded on his pants, it's because he was up there in the cuts, and he's in discovered
there. He's way up there too.
Yeah. Oh my God. And Josh Davey is one of the most stylistic players to ever play paintball, in my opinion. I mean, his style was on point, and his playing ability was on point, obviously, as well. He played for Dynasty and is a really good player.
Yeah, you know, and just like, remember Riley, he got brought down by Little John. You know, he brought down, I never seen Riley be played for. And he came out and he had good traits. Yeah. You know, at the beginning, he was a little bit hot-tempered, but he had good traits. I said, you can play. Come on and try.
I know, man. You developed a lot of really just great people. You know, I think at the end of the day, you have a knack with people, and you bring out the best in people, and people will never forget that with you, Bobby. Just the energy, you know, you have phenomenal energy. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's dying quick.
I don't know what you're talking about. This has been great, Bob. This has been fantastic. You know, it's funny. Because I grew up with Shane Pastana, right? He was my coach as a kid. And so I always tell Tyler, you know, Shane's what you are to Tyler, right? Yeah. Shane, there's a lot of similarities there as well with like what he looks for. It's more about the person, you know, you want the right personalities to build around. You can teach the skills, you can teach the fundamentals. You can't teach drive, character, you know, work ethic, responsibility. You can't teach those things, you know. People either have them, you know, so that's a really important thing. I always try to advocate that too when we're talking to divisional teams, you know, how you want to build your team. You want a bunch of like-minded individuals, good people that are willing to put in the work. And
it's the people that get in there and give you a hard time and complain about it. They're not really that good. You can teach somebody else something else.
Yeah, absolutely. That's deep too. because it's like a mosaic. You got to have all these pieces together to bring the picture to life and make it come to fruition so we can get championships. That's what we're trying to do, is win these tournaments, and you got to have all the right puzzle pieces for that.
Yep, I agree.
One of the best things that I will never forget you teaching me, Bob, is just like when a player is fighting extremely hard to get into, a far position up the Dorito or a far position up the snake, you would always be like, just let him have it. Kind of like, because then once he drops his gun and gets in there, then you first of all, you can possibly shoot the player, and you can make the free move as well. And
the second he goes, guess what? Your opening is opened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. As long as you check off the middle and make sure that nothing's in the middle, then you're free to go once. And you can tell when a player's fighting really hard to make those moves, and you're like, all right, just let him have it. Why are you even,
why are you taking your chance to lose him?
Yeah. Exactly.
And I always told guys, if you're in a firefight and you're fighting each other
mm-hmm.
and in your mind you say, I could lose, stop fighting me.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's entered your mind. So reevaluate everything and start again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's for
a big one. Yeah, it's a big one. If it enters your mind, especially in paintball, it's such a mental game. If any sort of doubt in either making a move or winning a gunfight or going to a certain spot off the break, like as soon as it's there for a reason. That voice is there for a reason. And if you don't listen to it, you usually end up, proving yourself right.
Make that move. Oh man, I told myself not to do that.
Totally.
Yeah. That was for the Texas Hammer. Shout out to everybody on our chat room. They're so excited to hear this show. It'll be live Friday morning. Right now it's Thursday evening, mm-hmm. and they cannot wait to hear this tomorrow morning, Bob. You've got so many fans out there still to this day. You probably don't even understand how loved and adored you are in the paintball world still. It's a legacy that will live on, like I said, forever. All eternity, Bob Long will be a part of paintball. Yeah,
I'm here anytime you guys need me.
It's all love, man. That's the
Bob,
best.
do you have anything cool on the horizon you want to share with us? Anything you're working on? Anything exciting, or are you just kicking back and relaxing?
Well, I trying to sell my the property where the paintball field was, and it's in escrow. Well, hopefully it'll get passed and everything gets sold.
Okay.
Then I just gonna relax. I had two I guess you would call them heart attacks in the last 3 years. So they're really not heart attacks, they're stents. But the doctor said they're heart attacks. So it's the same old shit. You're just getting old.
Yeah. Well, we
one of these days I gotta go out and go to these fields and go to the cup and go walk around for a while.
Yeah.
How far are you from, Dave Bain's field?
Oh, an hour.
An hour? We're going to be practicing up there pretty soon. You should come out. Say hi to everyone.
Yeah, just give me a call. Let me know when you're coming. I'll come down there.
All right.
I got my shots, man. I'm ready now.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
All right, so it's April 24th and 25th.
Yep.
Just call me. And remind me, my brain's gone, remember?
Yeah, no.
We will, dude.
Absolutely. 100%. Got to come out.
And
I do have one more question too, because I've been, I want to put the pressure on the guys as well, but I want to know what you think about it, about the Dynasty guys, Field 1, revamping an Intimidator style gun.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? I think you guys ought to. I think Field 1 should build a G6R type of gun.
Yeah.
Those guns
the reason
really sweet.
It'll sell to the Woods Bowl company because they get 40 million shots.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's still real easy on paint. Your speed is 11 balls a second anyway. Doesn't mean nothing no more. And their capability of building that reversion. And I told Eric, don't use Jason. Use somebody else, because it'll take 2.5 years, and figure these out.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, there's another gun. You guys need to freshen your dynasty guns once a year or once every 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not reinvent the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Just make the wheel a little bit rounder.
Yeah,
absolutely. Some cool new features, some knickknacks. People like just new cool stuff too. It's why you get a new, I don't know if you do, but a lot of the kids these days, you get a new iPhone every year when they come out, and it hardly does anything different, Yeah, I get the phone and I go.
Same thing in archery. You bought a new bow. When I owned archery business, you bought a new bow every year to 2 years, period.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You bought one.
Part of the process.
It's part of what you're going to do,
Mm-hmm.
You go down and buy new hats or buy a new pair of pants,
Mm-hmm.
You can, and that keeps the movement, because the guns that you have will go down to somebody else, and those guns will go up to the people that want them. My attorney just spent $11,000 for a long distance rifle.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So,
that's the real deal.
They'll buy them.
Yeah, agreed. Man,
they don't have to be the $300 gun.
Mm-hmm.
Right. The G6R was amazing. The very first tournament after, Field 1 acquired Bob Long, and we were still using the Marks and also the G6Rs, the layout was perfect for a G6R. And I used the G6R that event, and it was this can on the Dorito side that had a great lane to keep people out of the snake, but you had to go there and shoot 12 pods, And I sat there and used that G6R and just ripped through that lane. And I'm not kidding. Nobody
ever
could get in the snake. Yeah. And it's like, this thing's just ripping on, I think I was using a 68-45 tank too. I could just get much paint.
You had to get the shot count.
Yeah,
you had to get the shot count, and you just keep the paint raining through there, and they're not going to run through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it comes in handy.
For sure. I mean, what you did to the sport with the speed changed paintball,
Yeah. Well, the old autococker days, you get finger cramps.
Yeah. Mechanical. Yep.
Yep.
And it's amazing because the mechanical has made a whole swing back, and it's really big. Everyone's playing mechanical, but it's not like pulling an autococker trigger. I mean, these triggers, they got hair triggers now on these mechanical guns.
Yeah, I know they do.
Yeah, they're nice. Bobby, one of my last questions here before we let you go, and thank you so much for your time, man. We cannot thank you. The listeners cannot thank you enough for every moment here. Just one of your favorite coaching moments, or a favorite moment that you have from the Oakland Assassin days out there at your house, or just something nostalgic from the Oakland Assassin days that you will never forget.
I remember you talked to Pepe a little while ago. I remember him and Kevin showing up 15 minutes before the game from partying all night. We were dressed in the car, ready to go, leaving, and they were still partying. And they come walking in the front part of the motel.
Oh no.
So there's story after story after story, not just the Oakland Assassin, but the old Ironman that would just rock the world that I had to deal with. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I remember Daryl in England. Me and Phyllis are sleeping in the motel room.
Yeah.
And they went out at night and they were all partying, and they totaled the van in England. And Daryl was arrested and thrown in jail.
Oh my
God. And they were standing outside of my room, Shambo, who's going to wake up me to telling me about this.
Who's going to wake the bear up?
They finally told me, and we had $1,200 for our paint So we went down there, spent the money, and got Daryl out of jail. So there's stories. I could write a whole book of stories. Yeah. But these guys would be all in trouble.
Yeah.
Every one of them would go, oh my gosh, especially because they're married, or you know what I mean? Their life was completely different in the young days.
And it was, I mean, at that time, paintball was just different. Like in the modern day of age of paintball, the pro level is all like, you know, crisp and clean cut and making sure we're doing all the things. But back in the day, it was wild times.
It was a wild, wild west.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I think if you've been in the game long enough, everyone has some crazy stories from traveling for paintball tournaments. It's funny because we were such kids at that time, you know, so it forced us to grow up really fast too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I appreciate it though.
Me too, man. It was special being able to be raised because, you know, my dad's a Ranger and he's a hard-nosed dude, you know, militant-minded kind of guy. My mom's flower child from Santa Cruz, but they knew I was with great people like Bob and everybody, Riley, all the people, Mark Nelson, that would take care of me. And it was special to be raised, you know, from 14 to 19, 20 with my family, away from my family. You know, I'll never forget those moments. It was special.
Yeah, they were great.
Bob, I have one last question. This was from Rainey Stanzak. You know, he plays for San Antonio X Factor now, but he wants to know if you have any old Ironman beanies laying around, and if so, how many Bitcoins for them?
You know, I look at these jerseys being sold all the time.
Yeah.
And I've got like a dozen of my old jerseys. And I'm going, God, I could almost retire on these jerseys.
Probably could. Yeah, especially if you start accepting Bitcoin. Someone gives you a couple of those bad boys, you're good to go.
And my dad and mom wanted to make sure I said hi, and my dad was saying the same thing. He's like, have you seen these jerseys online? And I was like, yeah, I saw a Bob Harmon going for $600 a couple days ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my gosh. You know, and my wife goes, I'm going to throw these away. No, you better not.
No.
Never. Yeah, never. No way.
I'm going to make a special trip up to see you and maybe wear like an old Bob Long beanie or something cool like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see you down at the Dynasty practice.
There we go.
Exactly.
Hey, yeah, if you have a cool beanie that you want me to wear, I'd be honored to wear it on the pro field and keep that Bob Long heritage going, man.
Really?
Yeah, man. Well, Bobby, we know that it's getting late, and we appreciate you so much, my man. This has been
tell everybody I love them.
I know, man. We love you too. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything that you've done in paintball and giving a kid a shot when I was younger. You're one of the greatest coaches and minds and just people, and just a true icon for paintball, and we all appreciate you so much. So we are sending you tons of love and hope you do amazing things with the crossbows and all the cool stuff that you're doing, and just keep having fun up there.
Absolutely.
Okay. Take it easy, Marcel.
Bob, thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
This is the best. Bye, Bobby.
Bye-bye.
See ya. That was an absolute dream come true, getting to sit down with the legend Bob Long, one of the greatest dudes ever, one of the biggest icons of paintball, and we're so honored that he was able to come on and share some time with us and get his time databased in the PTG archives. So thank you everybody as well out there for continuously tuning in and supporting the show. We have had a complete outpour of love for everything that has been going on with these shows and the people and the stories and just the love of the game, because that's what it's all about for the culture of paintball, and that's why we're doing this. So thank you everybody for the continued support. You can head over to ptgpodcast.com and become a supporter of the show over there. We have all the podcasts, the YouTubes, information about our partners, as well as a PTG store where you can get some merch, and a special huge thank you to our Patreon community over there on the website. If you go to ptgpodcast.com, you can become of that team, of our Patreon team. We have a lot of really cool stuff going on in there, exclusive content, and just amazing ways that you can interact with the guests and interact with us as well. And while I'm at it, I have to say a special thank you to our champion tier and GOAT tier. They get mentioned on the show once a month at least. And for our champions, we have Luke Daly, Carl Sprentinol, Brian Reese, Cameron Clifford, and Paul. And for the GOAT community, which also gets to spend 1 hour with Marcelo and myself and pick our brains each month. And this month we're doing it on the 31st, so March 31st, be on the lookout for that. If you're a part of the GOAT community, we will be sitting down and having a fun team meeting on that day. Our GOATs are Reginald Estrada, Christian, Christopher Tucker, Delmont Unin, Garrett Hobbs, and George Jocelyn. You guys are amazing. We truly cannot do this without you all, and we're so appreciative of everybody who has been rocking along with us on this show. It's been really fun tapping in with everybody and telling these stories and just having fun with the game of paintball. It's what we all love to do, and we're just happy that we can add another layer to this amazing fabric of this sport. If you want to have an awesome website like the one that we have, head over to constantpursuit.com, and Rusty Glaze can build you a badass website for your paintball field or for your store. So you can go to constantpursuit.com. If you have any questions, DM us at Play the Game Podcast for the Instagram. And stay safe out there and keep having fun.